Most people that are drawn to Idaho come here because of its magnificent beauty, its strong conservative values, and the 34.5 million acres of public land we get to play on all year long. But a lot of people forget that where there is beauty and adventure lies hidden dangers that can make your time here really miserable and sometimes deadly. So if you're looking at visiting Idaho or moving here, make sure you watch this entire video and avoid Idaho's 7 biggest dangers. Hello and welcome to another episode of Living Life in North Idaho. My name is Trent, and on this channel, we talk about what it's like living, eating, working, playing, and buying real estate here in Idaho. If that's of interest to you, make sure you tap the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so every time I come out with a new video, you get notified. And if you are serious about getting moved to Idaho, I have people just like you that every day we get calls, texts, and emails, and they're interested in knowing more about what it's like living here, or they're serious about getting moved here and they just need some help making that happen. My team and I are here for anybody that wants to make living in Idaho a reality, so reach out anytime with a call, text, or email. Day, nights, weekends, it does not matter. Now, before I start this video, I want to say, yes, these are serious dangers, but the only thing you need to fear is ignorance and stupidity.
Almost as stupid as a stupid does.
With a little bit of knowledge and some preparation, you can avoid any of these 7 dangers from affecting you. But I want to know from you in the comments, did I miss something that you think should have been on here, or have you had firsthand experience with one of these dangers? I want to hear about it, so make sure you leave a comment and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Okay, so the first one on our list is an odorless invisible gas that's radioactive and can cause lung cancer. It's known as radon. Now, radon exists in lots of places throughout the country, but it's particularly prevalent here in Idaho. Radon is the decay of uranium that's found in the soil, in rocks, and in water. And what ends up happening is when you build on top of the ground, that gas is now being trapped within that home or building. Luckily, you can buy a meter at any hardware store or online, and they're not very expensive. And mitigation systems are pretty easy to install and range between $800 and $1,500. According to the EPA, about 21,000 people die from radon exposure a year, and it's the second leading cause of lung cancer in the country. So yes, radon is very serious up here, but every home inspection should have a radon test, and mitigation systems are normally installed in newer homes and can be retrofitted in almost any older home. So even though it is common up here, it's really not a concern as long as you test for it and put in a mitigation system if required. The next danger on our list is so small and harmless looking, most people will overlook it, but it can cause some serious issues. It's called Stachybotrys chartarum, also known as black mold. Now, black mold can grow anywhere that you have warmth, low light, and low ventilation, which unfortunately in Idaho, we can have a lot of that. Because we get such long, rainy, and snow seasons, if you have a leak in a window, in a roof, or your foundation, mold can start to grow, and sometimes it can be behind the walls where you don't see it, but the spores can still get out, and if ingested, can cause all kinds of problems. Some of the most common issues with mold exposure are respiratory issues, allergies, anxiety and depression, inflammation, puffy, dry, itchy eyes, weakened immune system, and if exposure lasts long enough, psychosis and suicidal ideations. And if that's not bad enough, it can even cause structural issues and make your home smell of mildew. Luckily, we can detect it with our senses. We can either see it or smell it. And they also have test kits you can get online or at your local hardware store. And again, because we live in an area that does have long, gray, rainy days, you want to be checking for mold pretty regularly. I myself had a bad mold experience when I hired a cheap handyman to put in a bathroom fan, and he decided to vent it into the attic instead of going outside, which is how it should be properly done. So yeah, I saved a few bucks on the install, and $1,200 later, I was able to get the mold mitigated. Now, if you do have mold, oftentimes you can deal with it yourself. You can use vinegar. Don't use bleach, but use vinegar because it can penetrate the subsurface. Or if it is bad enough, you can hire a team that will come in, they'll mitigate it, and then paint over it so that it won't grow back. But you want to make sure you're handling it right, and just be aware if you're starting to have some strange health issues, maybe get a mold test. Now, this next issue needs to be taken very seriously. Not only can it cause autoimmune disorders, but it can also lead to neurodegenerative diseases such as ALS, Parkinson's, and MS. It's known as heavy metals. And because North Idaho and other parts of Idaho are known as being mining towns, a lot of the exposure happened a long time ago, and it's not something that people think about on a regular basis. The best way to deal with heavy metals is to avoid exposure. So when I say this, I mean it. I repeat, do not eat the fish out of Coeur d'Alene Lake. Just east of Coeur d'Alene, you have the Silver Valley that was once the biggest silver mine in the entire world. And their filtration house burnt down, and unfortunately, they let a lot of heavy metals go down the river and into the lake. Now, according to the EPA, it's perfectly fine to recreate in the lake, to swim, to boat. You just don't want to eat the fish because the heavy metals are in the bottom of the lake. So the bottom feeders eat the heavy metals, and then the more predatory fish eat those. And then if we're eating those fish, we're getting the heavy metals. Now, heavy metals can be found all over the world, and there are ways to detox from it. You can use different cleanses and supplements, but always talk to your healthcare provider before you start these because they can be fairly intense, especially if you do have heavy metal poisoning. You can really feel bad, so you want to make sure you have a healthcare provider who's able to walk you through that journey and help you feel as good as you can while doing it. Now, the fourth biggest danger of Idaho is also one of the prettiest. It's the snow and the ice. And it never fails. Every single year we hear about people that didn't have the proper tires on their car. They didn't have the right footwear. They slip, they fall, they break their hip, they crack their tailbones, or they give themselves a really bad concussion. It's not that hard to prep and be ready for the winter seasons, but people who aren't from here or people who are just getting moved here, they don't always take it seriously and they don't always know what to expect. We also have a thing called black ice, and there doesn't even need to be snow on the ground. Black ice can happen at freezing temperatures, and what it is it's ice that basically blends in with the asphalt or concrete, and it's really hard to detect. And so before you know it, you're sliding down the freeway and you really don't know why. It's slicker than snot, and it can lead to some really bad car accidents, or if it's on the side of the road, on a walkway, you can slip, fall, get really hurt. And for those of us that like to play in the mountains during wintertime, avalanches are a serious risk. Now, you can get the proper gear. If you get an Avi bag, if you get a probe and an avalanche beacon, that can really help. But going further than that, getting certified in avalanche rescue, they can oftentimes teach you how to detect an area that might be having an avalanche. And there's also reports that you can read to know what areas are higher risk. Wintertime in Idaho is absolutely beautiful, but the snow and ice can lead to serious injury, so definitely take it seriously. Number 5 is gonna seem a little bit silly, but it's actually led to some of the most serious issues here in Idaho. It's vitamin D deficiency. Like I said, we get a lot of gray, rainy, snowy days, and sometimes we can go weeks without seeing the sun. And without that vitamin D, your immune system is totally compromised. You can get sick really easily, but it can lead to a lot more serious issues. It can actually lead to depression, suicidal ideations. It can cause all sorts of problems. And vitamin D is not an expensive supplement, but the quality does matter. I like to use Thorne. They were founded up in Sandpoint and now are owned by a pharmaceutical company. So they do the testing on their products to make sure that it's pure and it's effective. So I take vitamin D throughout the entire year. You can overdo vitamin D, so you do want to talk to your physician, find out where your levels are at, and make sure you're taking the appropriate amount. And I know some of you might go, oh, okay, yeah, vitamin D, buddy. Sure, maybe if you're weak, but I'll tell you, our statistics prove that anybody can be affected by this. We used to have some of the highest suicide rates in the country. And once they started to promote using vitamin D, those rates have now dropped, but they're still fairly high. So definitely take this one seriously and get yourself some vitamin D. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go on Amazon and get some Thorne yourself. Now, the 6th biggest danger in Idaho, it's our wildlife. We have bears, we have mountain lions, we have wolves, coyotes, and wolverines. Now, most people are smart enough to avoid a situation with a predator, and most people aren't going to be out in areas where they're going to come across predators, but they can show up anywhere. We've had mountain lions on Tubbs Hill, which is very close to downtown and frequented by a lot of people. But where a lot of people make the mistake and get really hurt is when they come across the big, goofy looking moose. And it looks so friendly and is so unthreatened by humans that it will just stand there. So a lot of people will think, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be cool to have a selfie of me feeding an apple to this moose? And the moose will allow you to walk up to it until it doesn't want you to, and it will crush you. Moose have been known to kill wolves and bears by crushing them with their giant hooves. They weigh about 2,000 pounds, so you definitely want to take it seriously. The rule of thumb here is it's okay to look, but definitely do not approach the wildlife. And the last one on the list is definitely going to surprise you. It's water. Every single year, we lose people to drowning because they don't know what to expect in our rivers and lakes. We have over 2,000 lakes and 1,000+ miles of river in Idaho. It's absolutely gorgeous and it draws a ton of people here. But where people make the mistake is they'll see that it's 75 degrees outside and sunny, and they'll go jump in the water without doing any research. And our lakes can stay at 45, 50 degrees all the way up until late spring, early summer. And when you jump in, you lose your breath, your muscles can immediately start cramping, and you can be in serious trouble before you know it. The other bad mix is people that want to go out and have fun on their boat. And so they're drinking, they're playing around, and they're not taking the danger seriously. I myself know 2 people who have lost their lives being out with their families, they're drinking, they dive off of their boat, and they never come back up. Now, the theory that runs around is that they might have hit a deadhead. Now, what a deadhead is it's a logging tree that has been logged, and they used to float them down the river from Coeur d'Alene Lake. Well, some of them would get waterlogged enough that they sink just below the surface, and you cannot see them. So when you dive in, you might not know that you're diving headfirst into a log. And the rule goes too with jumping off of high surfaces, which I loved doing it when I was young, but you have to go under the water, look around, and make sure there is not a deadhead. Otherwise, you could paralyze yourself or hit your head so hard you end up sinking to the bottom. The lakes, rivers, mountains, snow, all of these things are what make Idaho, Idaho, and it's awesome. And if you just use your head a little bit, do some preparation, be smart, you have nothing to worry about. Really appreciate you guys watching this video. Like I said, leave me a comment in the comment section letting me know if something should have been on the list that wasn't, and if you have had firsthand experience with any of these, I want to hear about it. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and make sure you reach out to us if you're serious about getting moved to Idaho. There's also a website. If you don't want to talk to anybody, you can go on there, see what's available. And until the next one, I will see you later.